Welcome to those of you who joined this session. I'm glad you came. We're going to this morning get started and just speak a little bit about artificial intelligence, which is all the rage. If you haven't heard much or if you've heard a lot, I've been in many circles where this has been a topic of not only discussion, but also of quite a bit of debate. So we are going to be throughout this session utilizing our chat. So I know some of you might just be listening in this morning, but if you can, I'm going to ask you to use your chat a few times throughout. But hopefully you can engage in that way, and or because we're such a small group, you can feel free to unmute and ask questions throughout, and or unmute and participate in some sort of conversation. So there will be a time for us to unmute in a bit and share your opinion. But for now, we will start digging into the meat of this topic. And again, don't be shy about sharing your video or unmuting, because we're a really small group and I want people to get your questions answered, especially if you have some burning things before the school year starts, because again, this is such an important topic that again, we want to really dig into as we're thinking about teaching and learning for our students. So today, take a minute just to read these three things of where we're headed. There's a lot of AI tools out there. I know that ChatGPT has been a real focus, and so we're going to dig into that a little bit, but I'm also going to show you some of the most popular ones that teachers are providing feedback around that they have really utilized in their classrooms. And then we're going to talk about some ways that we can be thinking about what we need to be doing for next steps. And I will tell you, as a side note, all throughout this presentation, you're going to actually see my correct citations of utilizing AI. So I know there's been conversation about, oh, is AI plagiarism? How do we let people know that we've utilized artificial intelligence? And here on this first slide, you're going to see that I provided for you a lesson in CurePod that is in artificial intelligence that allows for you to create presentations and or lesson presentations by creating a prompt, and you tell it what you want it to do, and then you ultimately get a presentation. You can see here, I've cited it. And again, for each artificial intelligence usage that you access, you should provide a citation. So same thing with our students. If they use artificial intelligence for something in a project, something in an assignment, it's okay that they do that, but they should cite it correctly. And so this is a correct citation for CurePod, which is a presentation that I used. And I'm just going to click on that so that you can also see the presentation. I actually prompted CurePod to give me a presentation on artificial intelligence. So I was able to prompt it to ask and say, provide for me a presentation on artificial intelligence for a professional development. And ultimately, this is the presentation it gave me in less than 60 seconds. And you can do the same thing. It has all sorts of capabilities to provide for you a presentation on anything that you would need. So for example, if a student raised their hand and said, oh yeah, I have a question about the Revolutionary War, you could immediately go to CurePod, put together a 5-slide presentation instantaneously and provide some background information. So again, I wanted to provide for you that link. The website is CurePod, and of course you have to provide the URL. And then what the title was is AI Professional Development, which is what I prompted it to do. So again, you'll see these correct citations throughout in the different ways that I used artificial intelligence to put together this presentation today. So we will get started. And again, feel free to access the chat to ask me questions and to dig in. And for those of you who just joined, my name is Amy Wichman. I am the Director of Technology, Media, and Digital Learning at Heartland AEA, and I'm happy you joined this morning. So just to begin your thoughts around artificial intelligence, again, discussion and debate around this topic. we've heard a lot about, oh, AI is going to take all our jobs. And we've heard some about AI should be banned in schools. In fact, New York schools, public schools, when ChatGPT first came out in last November, said, no ChatGPT in any schools. And we hear lots of times that AI isn't going to have any truthful information. It doesn't care if it's true or false. And it's plagiarism. If any children are using it, it's plagiarism. And so what we're going to be kind of uncovering and unraveling today is a little bit more around the skepticism, because I think what we're finding is the skepticism is more comfortable than learning actually how to use it. And what we really need to be thinking about in the year 2023 and beyond is that our children need to become better critical thinkers. And with artificial intelligence in the arena of education today, we need to teach them how to become critical thinkers. And the best example of this I can provide is we have computer science standards. And what they're going to do with those computer science standards nationwide is they are going to update those computer science standards. Instead of having coding being one of the computer science standards, that they're going to update those and morph those into more of editing of coding. So it used to be that the computer science standards were heavy coding. So people needed to learn how to code. Now we have lots of artificial intelligence that can do that coding for you, but we need skilled workers and skilled humans who can look at that code and find the errors. So again, it is our duty and our obligation to really make sure that we are teaching our students those critical thinking skills and how to utilize and really adapt to the AI that we have in our world. And interestingly, we now have a Generation Alpha, who will never live in a world without artificial intelligence. So also something really, really interesting to think about. So in the chat, I'd like for each of you who are online right now, what are your initial thoughts about artificial intelligence? If you would provide for me an adjective, so that's a word that describes, in case you're a math teacher or someone who doesn't utilize adjectives much, I'd like you to type in the chat for me an adjective that describes what your initial thoughts are about artificial intelligence. Maybe you've already done some experimentation. Maybe you're already an expert with artificial intelligence, but take a minute just to put into the chat kind of what your thinking is around artificial intelligence, or an adjective that you might have. Okay, curious, that's good. Mind-boggling, I love that. Curious, yeah, cautious, good. Yeah, potential. I think it does have a lot of potential. Good. So at least we didn't have to go over too much what an adjective was. Lots of people who are curious. Good. I hope that at the end of this presentation, you'll actually feel continue to be curious. I don't want you to lose that curiosity, but I hope you'll also feel creative and invigorated by the end of this, because I really want you to feel that you can step into this world and feel a little bit more confidence, and feel that you can maybe take a step towards a direction where you can maybe see a real usage and gateway into how you might be able to introduce this and utilize it even for your own productivity in the classroom. So here we go. Let's get started in thinking about how this might work. So I'm going to play a video for you just real quickly about the first 2 minutes of this video on what is artificial intelligence. But before I do that, just take a minute to read what it is on the screen. Okay.
AI, or artificial intelligence, is all around us, whether we know we're interacting with it or not. AI refers to a collection of technologies that allow computers to sense, learn, reason, and act. But a far cry from the sci-fi promise of a humanoid robot that thinks like us, AI is currently only capable of specific individual tasks. AI powers the algorithms, the instructions encoded in computer programs that rank search results on the web, tag your friends in photos online, let a smart assistant understand the words you say, and recommend which movie to watch next. AI can also help detect diseases, identify fraudulent credit card purchases, and monitor threatened ecosystems and wildlife. How does AI work? One approach is called machine learning. Equipped with algorithms and vast amounts of data called datasets, AI developers train computer programs to recognize patterns and tackle complex problems. In many cases, machine learning algorithms called neural networks extract information from examples in the training dataset by searching for patterns in multiple steps called layers. Once a program has been trained on a dataset, it can then encounter new scenarios and start making predictions. For example, if the training dataset is a collection of labeled images of cats, and the algorithm instructs the program to identify a cat, a successful image recognition program could then correctly classify a new image as either a cat or not a cat. If a language generator were successfully trained on all of the English text in a library's collection of books and articles, it could then complete an unfinished sentence while obeying the rules of English grammar. This process is not transparent. We have yet to design algorithms universally capable of explaining how they arrive at a particular answer. So we can't know exactly what makes our program so sure it sees a cat, or how exactly it knows that whom is correct, not who. It is just applying its training after being shown a huge number of examples. AI is impressive, but not perfect. Its flaws reflect the data we choose to train AI algorithms, as well as other choices made by the humans who develop these technologies and send them out into the world. Some of these
Okay, so that's what we're going to watch for today. Really in thinking about, oh boy, there's things going on here. Really in thinking about our I don't know how I lost all that stuff, but in thinking about what it is that we are wanting to think about with AI, we only know that artificial intelligence knows what it knows because of the data set that it's given. So certainly when people say AI can make mistakes, it certainly, yes, can make mistakes. And so we want to make sure that we are taking that into consideration when we move forward with students. But we also know that the data set is so large in so many cases that that's what makes it intelligent. So as we move forward, the great news is we already have some things that are some tools that you already know. So look at this screen. On the bottom of your screen, you probably have a tab that says reaction. So if you scroll to the bottom of your screen, there's a little emoji with a plus sign that has some reactions by it. I want you to give me a thumbs up if you have actually used or know of one of these AI tools that's listed on the screen here. So Wolfram Alpha, IBM Watson, Turnitin, Duolingo, Coursera, or Grammarly. These are artificial intelligence. So again, at the bottom of your screen, you would have reactions. Okay, yes, I see some people have the thumbs up sign. Yay. Okay, Janet and Tammy have utilized Alex. So some of you, Julie, okay, thank you. So some of you have
Hey,
seen these
Amy.
before. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Amy, but we can't see your screen right now
Oh,
to see
sorry
the
about
ones
that.
we could hear you read them off, but
Okay, let me see what I did wrong. Sorry about that. Thank you for saying that. I think after the video, I got a little off there. Okay, can you see now? Yes. Okay. So there you go. AI tools. So I got a thumbs up from a few of you. We kind of forget that artificial intelligence has been around a long time. Alexa, Siri, all these things that we've already been using. I think it really just came to the forefront when ChatGPT became a real, I don't want to say threat, but became a real institution in thinking about how it would morph our lives in education in particular, but also in many, many other facets of society as well. In fact, when ChatGPT came, it was compared to genetics in a way that really would be something that would transform society, ethics, morally, in a way that we would never go back. And so some of these tools that, again, we've used for years, people weren't thinking about as artificial intelligence. And so as we move forward in thinking about some of these AI newer tools, here's a list that many educators are using. ChatGPT, which obviously is something that we certainly have heard a lot about. Perplexity is a chatbot that includes clickable sources for more content. Curipod, I just gave you, that generates interactive slides with polls and word clouds, which I've utilized a few times. Again, instantaneously creates interactive slideshows for you. Education Copilot, Yippity, Quillbot. I will tell you that Quillbot is currently being used if a student creates something in ChatGPT. They can actually cut and paste it into Quillbot. It will be paraphrased by Quillbot and then can be utilized as a paraphrased activity that's checking the grammar and re-summarizing it in many ways, shapes, and forms. Dolly actually creates images from written descriptions. You'll see an image that I generated from Dolly later. Futurepedia is a directory of all the AI tools that are available. And I love this one, which I know college students are utilizing. It's called tldv.io. It actually records and then transcribes meeting summaries from Zoom meetings. And that comes from Too Long Didn't View. And currently it's free. So literally college students were using it this last spring. They were taking Zoom meetings that professors had recorded, and they were not watching them themselves. They were actually allowing the recording to occur, and then it was transcribing the summary for them. And so again, the world is changing, and there are so many things that are on the landscape for us to really be thinking about as we're moving into the world of education. So if we get time at the end, I will certainly share this. I'll be sharing this PowerPoint. You can go back into this list, and we'll have an opportunity to click on some of these things. So I want you to read this, and I want you to take an opportunity to type in the chat some of the most powerful words or phrases that you're seeing as you read this statement. What are the most powerful words or phrases that are just punching for you as you read this statement about education and AI? Thanks, Tracy. Analyzing data. It's going to make that fast. Streamlining tasks. Yes. Yeah, thank you, Janet. Revolutionizing, personalizing, aiding in language learning, improving learning outcomes. Thanks, Dana. I mean, there is a lot in this slide for sure. And I really do think it's important to think about how AI has the potential to revolutionize not only education, but the work that you're doing and how you're making your work more efficient. And we're going to get into that next in really thinking about how we can leverage AI to help you become more productive, how to make you think about what it is that you're doing in a more efficient and a way that can save you time ultimately. So here you go. Here's the Dolly image. And again, you'll see the appropriate citation. So again, anytime a student is using AI or you're utilizing AI, the appropriate citation is the title. The title is always what is the prompt that you put into the artificial intelligence. The artist is Dolly. It's not Amy Wichman. I got it earlier this spring. And then the medium, of course, anytime you have artwork, you have to put what the medium is, and the medium is AI generated imaging. So I put as the search, adults thinking about AI. So you can see there, Dolly did that for me. Dolly now has become a paid service, so you can get one image free. But of course, we knew that would come, that they would realize that they could start doing things, but realistically, we will take advantage of the one free if you want to go try it. But that is an image that I literally just put in the phrase adults thinking about AI. And within a matter of seconds, it pulled up multiple images that I could use as part of my slide deck. And the same can be said for you. If you need an image that you want free royalty rights, you can go in and do the same thing. So I'm going to dig into ChatGPT because I think it could be your friend if you haven't already used it. Again, go down to your reactions at the bottom of your screen. Give me a thumbs up again if you have used ChatGPT already, and that will determine how deeply I dig into ChatGPT. So go down to the bottom again, your reaction, give me a thumbs up if you have used ChatGPT. Okay, a couple people. All right, I'm going to go ahead then and dig in a little bit and cover ChatGPT pretty thoroughly so that you're feeling, again, confident and, again, going from curious to more creative by the end of our time together today. So obviously, ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence tool and uses natural language processing. So basically, it took all these words, everything from all these different places. Again, that's the data set it took prior to 2021. It took all the information, put it into this computer, and then now spits out all sorts of answers to questions. You can ask it a question, you can provide it a prompt, and it will provide you a reply using a natural language. It can answer assignment questions, solve math problems. You can ask it to provide you a letter, a response, anything that you want to have a conversation with it about. And what's great about ChatGPT is the reason why they're calling it ChatGPT is it's very conversational. So ultimately, you can say to it, can you tell me this? Or can you tell me that? Or pretend you are a chef. Give me a recipe when you only have these 5 ingredients in your household. Or pretend you are a principal. Write me a newsletter article that is 500 words in length on why computer science should be studied in the grades 9 through 12. And it will spit out for you an article that is 500 words in length. And if you don't like it, you can say, literally, ChatGPT, I don't like that. Can you rewrite it? And this time include these 5 elements. And so it's a very, very user-friendly, easy way to kind of get anything that you want written. I've actually started, and maybe Alex can come on this more, I've actually started going to that more than Google lately because it provides for me a more condensed and more accurate answer, oftentimes than what you get with Google, which is millions and millions of responses, which is oftentimes you're left searching through trying to figure out what it's trying to say. So ChatGPT, that's the gist of it. Of course, we have some considerations. There might be bias. There might be some misinformation. Of course, with anything, we want you to be doing some fact checking, some editing to make sure that the information is correct. Remember too that ChatGPT is still continuing to collect data. Don't put in personal information and or personal information about others. We want to make sure that you are transparent. Again, we've talked about this before. You want to make sure that you're citing that you used ChatGPT. Again, it's not plagiarism if you're using it. And I want to emphasize that over and over again. It's not plagiarism because it's generating for you an independent and original response. So for example, if you actually typed in, please type me a reference letter for a individual seeking a job as a science teacher, if you typed in that request and I typed in that request, we would get two different letters. So it's not plagiarism, but you must provide proper attribution when you use that resource. And then again, it's important to establish some guidelines and safeguards. And you can find now on the internet all sorts of letters and AI guidelines from different teachers across the nation who are providing for their students guidelines and information about how to utilize ChatGPT and artificial intelligence within the parameters of what's okay or not okay within the classroom. So even if you Googled artificial intelligence guidelines for a 9th grade classroom, they will, again, you'll get a lot of letters and teachers have already forged that for us. So there isn't necessarily a need to do that ahead of time. In fact, you could ask ChatGPT to provide you some policies and guidelines for a 9th grade classroom, English classroom, on utilization of artificial intelligence, and we'll give you a list. You could even say specifically, give me 5 AI policies and guidelines from a 9th grade English classroom, and it will provide that for you. So again, don't be shy about digging into this because our students are using it. My own son was in 9th grade, and he said this summer to me, four of my classmates failed a paper that they did because they used ChatGPT. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, because the teacher could tell because the students had cut and pasted. There was no edits on their paper. So the teacher assumed that they had cut and pasted from ChatGPT. And so, my question was, well, how did the teacher know that they didn't just type it out? And of course, we had that ethical conversation about what ChatGPT could be used for and what it shouldn't be used for. And then, of course, those balancing of all of this that he and I had a conversation around about misinformation, privacy, transparency, and safety around ChatGPT. So all of these need to be considered. But with that said, that cautionary tale should not prevent you from utilizing it. So I'm going to here to tell you that ChatGPT can be used for all of these things. You can use it for planning instruction, writing IEP goals. And I have to tell you, I've worked in special ed for a long time, and my colleagues here at Heartland AA worked in special ed. And I'm going to say the first thing that I say when I say people are using it for writing IEP goals, it is a big gasp. Oh my gosh, what do you mean you're writing IEP goals with it? And it's happening, friends. So we just have to figure out how, again, we do the editing to make it work. And I'm going to tell you, I charged ChatGPT to write an IEP goal for a 4th grade student who needs to increase fluency within a time span of 36 weeks. And so look what it did for me. In less than 30 seconds, ChatGPT spit out this for me, and it wrote the goal, the objectives, the measurable criteria. And I could be even more specific. When I charged ChatGPT with doing that, I could have even said, using specific fast CBM data. I could have said the specific IGDs if I wanted to use IGDs. I could have been extremely specific at how I was going to do that. And notice what it did for me. It gave me the specific intervention strategies that I was going to use as well. Now, again, it's going to take one of us as educators to go through that and say, that's going to work for the student or that's not going to work for the student, because these, again, are individual goals for students who are humans, right? We don't know if this is necessarily going to fit, but I tell you what, did it give me a good start for this 4th grade student? Absolutely. And could it be reworded and or updated a little bit to make sure that it fit what the student needed? 100%. Did it save me a little bit of time? It absolutely did. But again, it doesn't work if we don't have the human who's going back in with a critical eye and making sure that we're looking at what needs to be done in order to make sure that this is what we wanted to say, that it fits with what the student's actual goals are and what needs to be done. But I'm telling you, for someone who is maybe an inexperienced person who's writing an IEP, for a teacher who's maybe struggling with figuring out what the intervention strategies would be a good fit, for someone who really doesn't know what needs to be the appropriate progress monitoring, this might be a really great first step and or a great start. So that is a great example. And again, I will show you in just a second how it all works and what the prompt is. But again, this is what it spit out for me in a relatively short period of time. Proofreading. You can actually put anything you want into ChatGPT. You can paste the entire document and you can say, ChatGPT, would you please be a critical analyst of this and proofread it for me? And it will spit out for you exactly what you want proofread. Professional correspondent emails or letters. This is one of my favorites. So you want to actually, you have a kid in your class who did a really great job at an assembly, and you want to send that student a real positive email. That would be great if we could celebrate every single one of our students. We just don't have time to always do that. And so in the busyness of everything that's going on, talk about a time saver, but also an opportunity to really celebrate a student who deserves celebrated. So in this particular email, it says, help me draft an email to a parent celebrating their daughter Josie's exemplary demonstration of wildcat character during the last assembly. And again, in less than 30 seconds, you can see here that we see a nice and excellent, quick letter to the parents that I can put into an email that is celebrating Josie, and she did a great job during the assembly. Again, I'm not going to send this blindly. I did read through it. I looked at everything that it had to say. I might want to change a few sentences, but ChatGPT has a copy and paste opportunity, and it does allow for me to cut and paste that and put that into the email. And again, I wouldn't have been able to do this on a normal day because I just don't have time to do all the things that I'd like to do. But ChatGPT then allows for me to maybe send, 5 people a week and a letter that I couldn't have normally sent. And so I do think that that's terrific. Handouts or directions. If you don't have time to necessarily provide the appropriate directions or handouts, you can charge ChatGPT with doing that. Differentiation, you can ask ChatGPT, you can literally say, here's the assignment that I'm giving to my students. Could you please make 3 different levels of this assignment for easy, medium, and hard assignments? And again, you might not always get what it spits out for you, but you can certainly differentiate in that way. And my third example that I'm going to show you here today is, if you were thinking that you wanted something that kind of came up at the end of class, you wanted a quick quiz, specifically around something that you were doing related to a standard. Here's a prompt that I gave ChatGPT. And again, in less than 60 seconds, I got this quiz, which I could cut and paste either into Google Forms and or that I could actually put into some type of quiz, that just John showed us, some type of quizzes or Kahoot or something. I could transform that really quick while the kids are out for recess for 15 minutes, but create a 5-point quiz that covers the following science standard. And you see here, I pasted the exact standard exactly from where it came in the next generation science standards. And look what it did. It actually just gave me the quiz, and here it all is, and it's all there for me with the answers, less than 60 seconds. And so it's really unbelievable of what it can provide for you. And so I'm just gonna show you how that works, and then we'll have an opportunity for you to take a look. So here I am. I go to chat.openai.com and allows for me to look at ChatGPT. So if you haven't seen this, you do have to log in. It does require for you to log in. I use my Google account, and I'm just going to continue with my Google account here. Alex, you're still seeing my screen, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't know if when I changed it did that. So I can say things like, so you can see here, it gives you an example of what it can do. So it wants you to be as specific as you want to be. So I referenced this earlier. Pretend you are a teacher and write a 200-word newsletter welcoming students and parents into the 23-24 school year. See, that's my prompt. And then I simply press return. And then hopefully you're watching and you can see the instantaneous response. I'm watching my timer so that you can see how long that took. And that was actually less than 10 seconds. So it took 10 seconds, and you can go here and you can actually click on the clipboard, and then ultimately I could clip it, and you can see there I clipped it, and then I can go into my drive. I can create a new Google Doc, and I can put it into the new Google Doc, and there is my letter. Welcome back to this. Welcome back to the school year. And so I still haven't reached a minute. So literally in 30 seconds, I generated a newsletter. And if you wanted to be specific, I could go into building blocks and I could do an email draft here, and literally, well, I did it in the wrong order. I needed to do it the other way around, but I could have done a building block first. I could have created an email draft, and then ultimately I could have had an email draft and emailed directly from Google Docs. So realistically, we're talking about an immense time saver on this.
Amy, could I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Would you cite this if you sent a letter to families? And
That's a great question. People are asking me this a lot. I would not cite this if I was going to send this directly to families. If I was trying to pass something off as a publication, I would cite it. So for example, if I was turning it in as an assignment, if I was sharing it like I am today in a presentation, I would cite it. Or if I was turning it in for an assignment, or going to a conference and presenting, I would always cite it. So that's a really good question. But in this particular situation, I would not. I would just take it and copy it and paste it and put it into my newsletter and move forward. So that's a great question. And people ask that a lot. But I also wouldn't, I'll be honest, I wouldn't keep it as is either. I would also put in my own words, if that makes sense. I would never just use it as a raw ChatGPT file. So I've used ChatGPT a lot, but I also would, I'll be honest, I would never use the word immense. So I would change that. I would just delete that. So another thing I would do is go back and use my own kind of language. And I've done that before where I've used pieces of it. Another thing that I've been doing a lot is taking some paragraphs, because that's still saving me time. And I haven't used the entire piece from ChatGPT, but I've used paragraphs of it, if that makes sense.
thank you.
One of the other things is, again, I'll show you how quickly it was to write an IEP goal, right? And I'll show you how quickly I did this, right? An IEP goal for a 5th grader in math who needs to focus on numeracy development within a 36-week period. Okay, so that's obviously not the right wording, but I'm just trying to demonstrate for you what's happening here. So you can see here, it has specific objectives, has specific information, really quickly written. So obviously there's a lot. I mean, again, emails, handouts, directions. We can go back here and say, write directions for an assignment for 10th graders needing to write a persuasive essay. Look what it did. And I'm going to tell you what, I taught English language arts for years and years and years. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't actually do this good of a job in this, right? Like, look at this. Topic selection, thesis statement, research and gather outline, introduction, body paragraphs. Like, it scaffolded that for me. I didn't do that for the kids. I wasn't that good. So you see, even here, it has taken its data set and really done a great job. It's actually more intelligent than I was at being an English language art or English language arts instructor to provide the students a clearer outline. And again, if you didn't like what that said, you could say, take out step 10. You could be as instructive as you wanted with that. So that's Chat GPT a little bit. What I'm thinking right now is it's a good opportunity to really think about what it is that where are you? So let's go ahead and unmute a little bit. And where are you right now? Are you like, let's go, I love this? Or are you thinking like, heck no, this is not going to work for me, or I still have some hesitations? So those of you who are still here, let's unmute and share some of your thinking. Where are you? What questions do you have? Are you yes, or like, wait a second? What thoughts?
When I started this presentation, I was very cautious, thinking maybe it wouldn't work, but you also helped us understand that we're already using it. Like I use Grammarly and Duolingo, but you also have provided other pathways as a teacher that we can use it and also be cautious by by editing, revising. So thank you.
Nice.
I'm excited about it.
Nice. Thanks, Janet. Anyone else in the let's go or oh heck no? No one's going to judge you if you're still in the oh heck no.
I can
Everybody's-
share quickly. So I use it a lot of the same ways that Amy mentioned, as far as helping to come up with emails, newsletters, those types of things. I also often use it to help me brainstorm if I'm thinking, help me come up with ideas for ways I could do this, or what topics might I need to address if I'm teaching this broader topic. And so it's a good brainstorming partner in addition to helping simplify the writing process a little bit.
Thanks, Alex. Tammy, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking, just as we start the new school year, I'm a special ed consultant. I know we have a couple new teachers, probably new to IEP writing, and that obviously with caution, but I really like the differentiation when you put in the example of here's the task, how do you differentiate? Because oftentimes at the high school level, I feel like, we have a couple teachers that really struggle with that, especially with our more significant learners, like how they can actually differentiate that instruction. So
Great.
I think it's pretty cool, but I'm kind of old too, so I don't know, just something to get used to, but
Yeah.
I think it's exciting.
Yeah.
and scary all at once.
Oh, I know. Yes. And sometimes too, you can even consider putting in the IEP goals that maybe some new teachers have written, and you can have them say, you can just say, can you check this goal to see if it's, as good as it could be, or can you rewrite this goal so it could be better? You can be, this is what I love about ChatGPT. You can be really informal, and it can be a nice teaching moment. If you're working with some of those new teachers, to really have them learn how to write a good goal, in that IEP area. Because I fear if we don't address it, they're going to do it anyway. And then we've got kind of this elephant in the room that these people are using ChatGPT for these things, and then no one's talking about it. So yeah, I love those ideas. Thank you, Tammy. I'm not sure if other people are actually on, or thanks for turning on your videos, Janet and Tammy, to share out. Oh, good. Tracy is texting. She's here, but she has kids, and Kara's there. Tracy's mind is blown, so she's excited. Good. Okay, we'll keep moving through the slide deck, but we need to be thinking about next steps. So this is Huberman AI. So I'm going to tell you, if you haven't heard about Huberman, he is like the #1 podcast of everyone, but the Huberman Lab is the podcast you can listen to, but now Huberman has his own AI. So it's Huberman.ai, and you can actually ask him anything. So this AI is better than WebMD now, because it doesn't give you all the terrified things that you get when you do WebMD. So I just said, because I thought it was appropriate for artificial intelligence, what should I do if I'm nervous about something coming up? And I retrieved that in April. I asked Huberman.ai, and this is what Huberman said. If you're feeling anxious about something coming up, the best tools to reduce stress quickly are those that have a direct line to the automatic nervous system. Take a few deep breaths to calm down. So that's what we're going to do as we go into the next steps. But I did want to provide for you some next steps as you're thinking about what you want to do in your schools and or even in your classrooms. So even if your schools aren't doing anything, it is important to think about what you might want to do in your own school classrooms and or with your parents as you're communicating about AI. So here's what we know. AI actually can help educators and all humans gain back time. You just have to really practice it to figure out the ways that it can really help you. In my opinion, it is going to transform teaching. We just have to help our teachers, help ourselves, help all humans figure out those ways that we can gain back time. We, as every educator, principals, teachers, instructional coaches, any person in education is obligated to teach students how to be learners, consumers, and humans living with this world of AI. It's going to continue to evolve, and education is going to evolve. The rate of change is infinite, and we have got to open the doors to what will be coming next. To pretend like it doesn't exist is actually going to be problematic. This summer, I was with an administrative team, and we were talking about AI, and one of the principals said, yeah, I don't think people are really using it. And we took a break. Interestingly, had a handful of teachers there that were working on curriculum. He went out and went into the room where the teachers were working on curriculum, and he asked them, how many of you are using artificial intelligence right now to prepare your lessons or whatever? And all of them were, and the principal didn't even know that they were. So we just have to remember that we have to continue to figure out how to use it. We have to pay attention to equity. So access and exposure to equity tools is going to start to become an issue of the haves and the have-nots. So every student who's walking through our doors needs to be exposed to AI, because it's going to be part of our world from here forward. And it's going to be important that we provide it for all our students, not just those who get exposed to it, like my child, who I talk about it with all the time, versus another child who maybe doesn't have a parent. So we really need to pay attention to that. We also know that there's
Amy,
a lot, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Our next sessions are starting, so if somebody needs to
Oh, I
go to
thought it was
that, that's
10:50.
fine.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Oh,
Anybody
so
who has
sorry.
further questions or would like to hear a little more from Amy is welcome to stick around. But if you need to
I'm
go to the
so
next
sorry.
session, feel free.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought it was 10:50.
Nope, you're okay. No problem.
Okay. Anyway, here's the things we should do. I will make sure to put my slide deck available to you. Experiment, try things, try things. You want to find, read, listen, watch. You want to reach out to education colleagues and try to get this in your district strategic plan if you can. So thanks for joining me today. I will end here. That is my last slide. I was just going to have some questions if you had any questions, but thanks everyone for joining and have a great day and enjoy the rest of the conference.